to hell and back is in the job description. Being roughed up, scuffed up, run over, kicked, thrown, dropped, dunked, and done the unthinkable is a duty we've embraced for more than 40 years. Through superior engineering and constant innovation, only Pelican has conquered the chaos a life of ambition can dish out. And we've done it to empower you.
Yak Gadget, made in America, based outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Yak Gadget offers all kinds of storage accessories, quick mount motor mounts, anchor systems, track mounted accessories, even paddles. Go to yakgadget.com and get your kayak decked out for your next trip out on the water.
The 153 Bait Company, based in Troy, Ohio, make everything from plastics to custom painted hard baits. Hook 'em hard and hook 'em off. All of our baits are made to order, and all of our hard baits are hand painted to order. So go to the153anglers.com to place your order today.
What's going on? Facebook Live, YouTube. What up? How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
Is your mic working?
I think so. Is it?
I don't know.
I can hear me.
You were quiet in the last one.
Yeah. Well, here, let's do this from here.
Yeah. You sound way better.
Let me go in the room. Then the other room over there.
Everybody, welcome to the show this evening. We may get a little controversial. Things might get a little heated. One of our guys, Armando Sola, is a little amped up. So we're gonna get him in here in a second. Everett Parks calling me. Everett, bro, you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait, Everett. Decline. Sorry, Everett Park. We got Josh Smith in the house. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? He just took second place.
Yeah,
I think at the KBL event this past weekend.
Yeah, he calls himself the bridesmaid, I think.
Oh yeah, because he took second like the week before to Susie. That sucks, man. He's gonna get a W soon. I feel it. But we got our next event coming up next weekend, June 19th, Madison Chain, Great Lakes event.
Wonderful place to be. It's a great set of lakes there.
Oh, he said third at KBL,
third.
second the week before.
So there we go.
Either way, dude, your kid's in the top 10 all the time.
Yeah, look,
I like
you
it.
guys.
Yeah, it's crushing it. Cash and checks, man. Shout out to Titus Dominguez. He took first place, dude. That was his first W. He's been helping us out with the trail series events, and he's been putting in the time and the effort. I think 7 years of fishing tournaments, and that was his first W. So shout out to Titus Dominguez,
Yes, sir.
Diablo El Dominguez.
Yep.
So cool thing. But get signed up on Tourney X. I'll have Jay drop the link in the description for Madison Chain. Get signed up on Tourney X. That's in conjunction with Great Lakes Kayak Fishing as well. So those two will be running hand in hand. One tournament, two clubs, tons of prizes and cash to give away. I think our last event in Michigan, first place took home $1,200.
A little bit of scratch.
Yeah, for 35 anglers. So it was pretty juicy. So let's get up in 50 anglers, man. I want to give 2 G's away to one person.
That'd be nice. I need 2 G's.
I need 2 G's. But 100% payback. No PayPal fees, no Tourney X fees taken out for the tournament. So if you guys are listening on the podcast or watching live now, get signed up for that stuff. And we will see you guys next weekend. We are still working out the details on the meetup location for the results ceremony and all that stuff. So as soon as we got that updated, we'll get that posted up for you all.
Yes, sir.
Look, dude, he's down there. He's away from his desk. He's messing with a cord. So we're going to bring him in.
Yep.
There he is.
There you go.
Armando Sola.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. That was perfect.
You really have to do that.
Caught him off there.
Me and my yoga pants.
Yeah.
Trying
bro.
to connect the cable here because it's skipping. I'm like, oh crap, my wife disconnected the cable for the internet, but I guess we'll go Wi-Fi. What's going on?
Yeah, not much, man. Welcome to the show. Good to have you on.
It's
You're a
my
little
honor to be
fired up.
here.
You're a little
Oh,
fired
don't get me
up,
started
dude.
on that. No, don't get me started on that, man.
That's the whole
I don't
point
want
of
to
this
take.
podcast.
That's the whole point of this podcast. That's why we
I don't
brought you
want
on
to
here.
take
dude.
away. I don't want to take away from the great show that was put up today by. Congratulations to whoever won, but everybody at the Bass Nation Kayak Series, man. Pendergraph, local boy from Texas, putting in on a show, man. I don't know what he ended up with, but
I think
I'm
I saw
assuming
like
he won.
110 inches.
112 was the last 112
Oh, yeah.
and something.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And then
dude.
I forgot the name of the other gentleman on the leaderboard that actually was catching up to him with a 200, I think, anyways, 212 or 209 for Pendergraph and 201 for the other gentleman. I forgot his name. McElroy, I want to say. Probably got that wrong.
Don't you have a computer?
But dude, what a show.
Might
I
be.
do, but I don't know. I lack the enthusiasm to research it right now.
Well, they took the standings down.
Yeah,
correct?
they took the
And-
standings out. Yeah.
and it won't be up till tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that either.
Oh boy.
It's the nature of the beast, man. Nature of the beast.
Does it have to be though?
I mean, I don't know. You got to make sure everything's right. I get it. You know,
That's true though.
I mean,
That's true.
as we grow, we kind of see that too. There's just some things that you just got to make sure. You know, like it may be like unforeseen, but you just got to take everything into account and just try to be as fair as you can. You know,
There's a lot of moving parts in a tournament, so it's easy to play armchair tournament director, and
True.
we do it. I mean, you guys have podcasts. We're on the network. I have my podcast, and sometimes I see something on social media about a tournament that gets me fired up, and but I also have to remember, you know what? I'm just playing armchair director here. There's a lot of moving parts going on, and most importantly, the safety of the anglers.
Well,
mistakes will be made.
Well, you got to think though too. There's a lot of money at stake, so that's a big deal.
Yeah,
I mean, you reach into someone's pocket, and then they'll take it personal. And I see it. I mean, people work hard for that stuff, so I get it. I do.
That's going down that rabbit hole. And again, I'm not gonna address it directly because I don't know the details, but I guess there was some bad blood today once again at Possum Kingdom. But that's the nature, like you said, that's the nature of the beast. That's a price, I think, unfortunately, that we pay as a community, as a sport when the sport grows. Where there's gonna be, they started off as a great community, and it still is, where kayak anglers just look after each other, and you will go to local trails, and the guys out there, if you were new, they will show you kind of the ropes of a tournament and how to fish, how to really find a pattern, which I think is one of the biggest difference between fishing recreationally and fishing on a tournament, finding that pattern that's going to get you big fish. But now with the money coming in, you see it more like, I don't want to spell my secrets. You see comments on social media when one tournament angler, kind of like goes on social media and talks about how he approaches and, finds the secret to finding big bass. Then you'll see comments from other ones just like, why do you have to share that? So it's with the big money, it comes, and eventually it's going to come a little bit of greed and bad blood. And I guess that's kind of a price to pay for the popularity of the sport as it keeps growing.
Oh, sure. I mean, money, like, think about it. It's great to win money, especially when you earn it. I mean, these guys are out there, especially in the heat, when you really think about what goes into it, how much money is spent all year. But when you really think about money in general, it like ruins everything. I mean, it's like, again, great to have, but there's just a stigma that comes with it. And then there's all this, there's negativity that comes with it, as well as positivity, and you can't run from it, and you just got to hope that everybody's on the same page, and everybody's accepting of, any outcome that comes out. And again, being an armchair director, I totally understand that, that term, and we've all been there. and it's easy to sit back and say certain things or believe certain things, but until you're like in the mud with everybody else, you really don't know. And especially being from a director, like definitely being, involved, and they don't realize like what, goes into that and how much feeling, it's like the worst thing to tell the bad things to like good anglers and to friends. Again, of all the, all the things that could happen, it's just, it's one of the worst things I have to tell somebody, some of the bad stuff, but it's really cool to tell them the good stuff too. So,
yeah.
Like, unfortunately, I mean, even for me with like tournaments, it's like money for me. Like when I got money involved, I just put so much pressure on myself and it's just not fun for me. I just can't operate like that. And plus, I mean, in my opinion, I'm not good enough to do it. Just because I just don't change tactics and, all joking aside, I mean, me and Brian do that, and Brian will be fishing right beside me. We've said this a million times, and I'll be sucking dirt and he'll be killing it. I mean, I've literally had him outfish me like 3-1, almost side by side, very similar baits. I mean, we're talking similar, same technique, like almost the same kind of worm. And, if I would have probably switched to the worm, they just like, well, I'm going to say this in public, they just like Brian's worm better. But I mean, but he was killing it, and it's funny. He's like, he's like, I got some more. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm good. I'm going to push through. I was like, cause I was catching fish. I just wasn't catching as many, it's like,
I've gone to the point of throwing them in his boat and he still doesn't tie them on.
This is true. But as of recent, I have been actually doing that. So I am making personal improvements, but yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, it's difficult, man. A tournament, there's so much pressure in tournaments.
Yeah, there is, dude. And it's funny. And actually, I guess we should announce this now. Sunday, new segment on Paddle and Fin, all talking about the mindset of an angler in the mental aspect of fishing. And I was fortunate enough to be the first guest on that segment, and looking back, I volunteered myself, bro. Looking back, when I was tournament fishing super heavy, dude, that was my biggest problem, dude, was just the mental anguish of tournament fishing, dude. Like I got more in my head, and that was one thing I mentioned in there was, tournament fishing or fishing in general is 90% mental, 10% physical, maybe even 95% mental and 5% physical, So that alone, if you're not strong mentally on the water, especially when it comes to having the pressure of tournament time, dude, like you might as well just not even sign up.
Ah, man. I mean, eat yourself alive when you're sucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, instead of bringing the positivity, that's me. I just can't do it. Once I hit the wall, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed somebody creeping in here, and I'm just going to say, I thought this was going to be about me today. Is Jimmy Skinner going to bring his boyish good looks here today? Because I see him creeping up. You see? There you go. I'm out.
Usually like this.
It's all about me.
It's all about you. What up?
Are you like?
I like that setup, man. That's nice.
Appreciate it. What'd you say?
You in a closet, dude?
Kind of afraid to ask where you are. But.
This bedroom I'm in is larger than y'all's podcast studio, so bite me.
It probably is.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's
I'm getting that old Jay over there.
Other things too, but
I just feel like the EDM music should be going on, man.
Like,
dude, if I can get some good, just
please.
I got a poll put in over here too. I'll put that in the next show.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. No, Jimmy wanted to jump in because of the subject we're talking about. These major kayak trails, and
I love a good argument.
Yeah, well, let's start off with this, man, because this is how this all came about. Armando got fired up about bass. So I guess why don't you start with that, man? Like what really fired you up about the Bass Nation event, and then we'll spin off there.
Well, first of all, because it's one thing you and I talk about, and another thing to talk about it in the podcast, because I feel and I'm going, I'm probably make this longer than I should, but as a podcast, you have a voice. You try to amplify the voice for the anglers, for me, social media creators and tournament anglers. And you want to be diplomatic. You want to, say things that are going to move the tournament and the industry and and the community in the right place. Having said that, there are responsibilities, I feel, that we have to say, whether that's going to offend somebody, not offend somebody, but some people are not going to like it. And well, first of all, the Bass Nation, let's not take anything away from the show those guys put in today. This should not be taken away anything from them. What they did today was amazing. One of the most exciting tournaments that I've seen, through Tourney X, that, I was hooked on it, just watching Mark Pendergraft just go off on 112 inches today. That was amazing. So let's not take anything away from them. They deserve their time in the spotlight here, and they deserve all the credit in the world. Having said that, you and I talked, and I've had kind of like some issues with Bass Nation. Now, this is where I'm coming from. I grew up when my dad got cable TV. I was 10 years old, tackle box ready, rod ready, early in the morning on Sunday, just to watch bass fishing on TV. That was when I was 10 years old. So I love bass fishing. I love it when Bass decided, or Bass Nation, Bassmasters decided to come into the kayak fishing industry. I think that's awesome. I think that's great. Having said that, there are some things that I don't particularly like about the way it's being run. And looking from the standpoint of the health of the tournament scene and the community, I think there are some things that need to be talked about. And first of all, the $20,000 for the first place on Bass for today's tournament, the championship for Bass Nation, I know they paid deeper pool, but that to me was a joke. That was disrespectful. I've talked to a lot of anglers that are on the tournament through texts and phone calls, and I'm not going to say names because I'm not going to divulge personal conversations. But all the ones that I talked to were not particularly happy with that and the way it came out. Why? Because this is not only that, it's a $400 entry fee. So this is your award for making it to the Bass Nation Classic. Since you made it, congratulations, you made it. Now we're going to charge you $400 to take part in this, which I get it. There's an upcharge. Hobie BOS does it as well, although it's not nearly as expensive. It's 140 anglers, $400. Why is the pool so little? I don't get it. And I understand it's a business, but if you're going to run a tournament and you're going to charge twice as much as the anglers, so this is out of pocket. Like the money that they're getting in, that I'm saying, it's like they're getting it out of the angler's pocket. This is on top of what they're making on sponsorship.
Was it 140 exact anglers?
140 something.
46.
49 maybe. 46.
146.
Yeah.
And the entry fee was $400.
$400. I don't know if there was taxes involved. Yeah.
There's taxes involved.
That's $58,400 total prize.
Okay.
Pool.
Exactly.
I'm just going to do the math as we go along with this.
Oh, and shout out to
that
Todd Patrick, who posted it on the KBN group page. He did the math for all the Bass Nation classes. Basically, when you look at the Bass Nation and what they charge, it's pretty much for every 100 for tournaments at 150 anglers. The average, they take about 7,500. That's they keep 7,500. It doesn't take 7,500 to run a tournament. Now, I understand, Dwayne Valley needs to get paid. There are some expenses, but still, when you look at Hobie BOS for 150 anglers charges half of that. KBF charges way less than that. And my point is, the tournaments, the anglers are the ones that have to take time away from their family, pay gas, pay tournament fees, pay app fees, pay hotels, pay meals. If you're gonna charge that much, it's your right to do it. It's a business. If you want to charge it, do it. But have the decency and the respect to run a tournament well. Have an Angler of the Year race. Why is that a big deal? Because these anglers that are loyal to you and are loyal to your brand and are taking part in this tournament could really benefit from an Angler of the Year race. It could help them get sponsorship and help them with the cost that they have to pay to be part of Bass Nation and be able to finance, what they're trying to do. Bring your schedule on a timely basis. Don't bring it in February. Bring it before the year starts so people can make the arrangement. And we talked about it a little bit. I don't want to be like tournament director. Every tournament director makes mistakes. Like, for example, there was a mistake about in the rules where there was 14-inch and 12-inch, and that had to be addressed. That's a mistake. Numbers. Everybody makes mistakes, typo errors. Now, the mistake of not doing your research before picking the lake for a national tournament because you're rushing into this, because you're not putting the time away to do proper research and then having to change it because of the fallout of the decision that you made, it gets amplified when all the other things are not being done. And that's my big issue with it. If you're going to charge that much, if you're going to charge twice as much as everybody else, do it the right way, present it in the right way. And not to compare, but really it comes down to that. And I'm not saying for anglers to boycott them or not to participate. Any angler that takes part in any Bass Nation tournament, kayak tournament, is welcome on my podcast. And I reached out to them because I want to promote the anglers because they deserve it. Okay, if it helps them get a sponsorship, I'm going to do all I can. And that's our responsibility. But at the same time, we'd like to see this sport grow in a way that helps out everybody, not just the people that are, the corporations that are trying to take over it or kicking their tires to see if this is worth it.
Sure. And I think it's important to say, as Paddle and Fin, we're going to catch flack for this conversation, I'm sure, especially how critical you're being. And you're coming from an angler's perspective, but ultimately we're going to be recognized that this is a very biased opinion as much as you want to be unbiased, but that's fine. But from a devil's advocate on their side,
you sound so professional.
And you like that. You don't know their infrastructure. You don't know, what their actual costs are. From our side, I'm not even compare us. So, Bastian, if you hear this, we run our stuff for free. That's not to one up you or anything. That's just what we do. Right. So we're able to, we put in our time and then we are able to pay out more. Now, if this grew to a national stage, I don't know if that would continue. We would want it to continue, but could we do that? I don't know. We don't know what that future holds. Bass Nation, they're a very large platform now, right? So you have to take into account, and again, the money is money. Like I said, money is evil, to some extent, but you don't know, what is behind all that. And that's the thing too. And so it's easy to armchair it from that perspective because all of the tournaments are run differently, and I get to look at it from the outside, right? I've participated, sure, and there's stuff I had, I didn't agree with a lot of stuff KBF did, but again, different structure or different infrastructure, different everything. He's literally paying people to help him. So, some of that payout, are, the paying costs makes sense, to some degree. Again, I don't know the numbers, and I know that everyone is taking into account when they build these things, even from a director's perspective, what can I squeeze out of this, the best way where everybody gets what they want. And it's almost impossible to do because everybody's trying to reinvent the wheel to make it better. And maybe that's not the best term to use, but what I'm saying is that they're trying to, I guess, evolve or improve a tournament series. And again, when you're on a national stage, is totally different than a regional or even a local. because you can get away with putting out more money and stuff. So, I mean, I like I said, I mean, just from devil's advocate side, there's definitely a lot that goes into it, and no one's really going to know, and it's not really anybody's business because, like you said, it's definitely a business for them, and more power to them. It's like it's just. And that it comes down to the angler, right? It's kind of you got to vote with your dollars. If you agree with this and you want to, and you're going to get the exposure maybe that they may be able to, to give you, great, have at it. But if you don't want to, you don't have to, And I think that's really ultimately like the argument what it's going to be with people is like, if you don't like it, don't fish it. That's what they're going to tell you, and then this is the truth. So I mean, again, it's like it's hard to ride that line, especially when we have a foot, basically in that pool. But at the same, it's like we don't, right? It's like maybe one day we get that huge. I don't know what that's going to be. I really don't. No one does.
Next weekend.
Yeah, but that's just like we're still growing too. I mean, it's like it's still new for us, and everybody dreams of that, right? You want to go national, or even like hell, what if you could even go global?
So real quick, I know Jimmy's like itching to jump in on this real quick. So I just did some math, right? So
and
going
his
off
brain exploded.
Going off the numbers he gave me, 146 anglers at a $400 entry fee. Total prize pool is $58,400. Going off the payout sheet off a posting that I saw, after adding that all up, that's $52,000. That leaves $6,400. Now you figure PayPal fees is roughly in the area of $1,752. Okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Before you go into that, let's not forget who's Tourney X's biggest partner. Anybody want to guess?
No. Hey, as someone who has dealt with this,
it's on their website. It's
right.
On the website.
That is not a partnership. I know for a fact from problems we're having with the local bass nations with PayPal that they are this close to not even using PayPal.
Okay, what Tourney X? We're talking about Tourney X. Which is Tourney
I'm talking about Tourney X. Dwayne Wally.
I said PayPal fees. The fee that is charged through PayPal. Like if you sign up for a Paddle and Fin Trail Series event, we get charged a fee out of that amount of money you pay because you're using PayPal. So
I get that, but if you go through the
fee alone, I'm just talking about what they got charged from PayPal.
They're not getting that charge from PayPal. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but when you look at the Tourney X website, their partner is Bass. So you're going to tell me that's their business partner?
Bass. This has nothing to do with Bass or Tourney X. PayPal gets their cut.
PayPal, yes.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about.
But do you think Tourney, and I'm not criticizing if that's the way they have it, but you can't take consideration that Bass is paying the same amount to Tourney X, not PayPal, to Tourney X.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about PayPal right now.
Okay, my apologies.
Here. I'll be the referee right here. Everybody back to your corner. No matter who their partner is, Tourney X is a fee that goes there. Tourney X goes through PayPal. PayPal is an entity greater than Bass and Tourney X tenfold. They get their fee, not from Bass, not from Tourney X, from the person who makes the transaction.
Yeah,
there is no partnerships where PayPal fees are covered. That's why if you look at any trail in the country, when we say 100% payout minus Tourney X, PayPal, because $1.38 or whatever. I mean, I can't even remember what the fee is.
It's a percentage. Like so PayPal takes it's either 3 or 3.5%, and I went off of 3%. So if you pay $100, PayPal gets $3. Okay, so going off that figure, PayPal fees for this event is roughly in the area of $1,750. Now,
it adds up quick. I mean, just in one of the events we did, our PayPal fees were like, I had 46 guys. It was like $300 or $400.
Yeah,
like it adds up fast.
And let's not forget too, man. Like you have to hold that event somewhere, and we have faced like some very tall amounts of money, like where we can't afford that. I mean, we'll
Like
be honest,
$11, man. It's nuts.
no, I mean, there are some that like want $3,500, $5,000. I guarantee where they're holding that event, they're paying some bucks.
Yeah, we're not even getting to that yet. I'm just talking payouts. PayPal fee $1,750. The thing that Armando's questioning is Bass Nation paying the $5 an angler for Tourney X fees? Now, if they are, that's $730. So that leaves $3,900. Okay. So without that, okay, I'm just doing math. Plus 730. So if they're not paying the Tourney X fee, it comes out to $4,648 is what Bass Nation is keeping for administration fees. That pays for insurance. That pays
tournament director,
for the tournament director, the venue,
fuel,
fuel, lodging, whatever. So
I'm not questioning. Jimmy, you want to go ahead because we've been talking a lot now.
No. I'm taking it all in, but I'll like.
we're getting all the math, and remember, we're just doing math here. Like 5 minutes.
No.
Like
I'm not going to get into the critical numbers. Yeah. I'm not paid by Bass or work with them enough to know any of this information, and I'm not getting into that. First thing in all of this, they did not advertise this as a 100% payout tournament.
That's
nowhere, never have.
Oh no, yeah, and I'm not criticizing that.
I'm not saying you are. Give me a second. So you go off of that, and people are already in. We're committed. You know why? Because it's Bassmaster.
Yep.
You want that big trophy on a big stage. Hadn't got there yet. 2 years in. Not surprised at all. You know, it was going to be a train wreck at first. Most things are. Like, people think Hobie is probably the greatest tournament series right now, and I've not even fished one. Hobie's not new. They've been doing Hobie Opens for years. They know what the fuck they know what the hell they're doing. Sorry, Brian. Beep.
Good job, Jimmy. Way to keep it clean, bro.
Sorry, Waypoint.
Sorry, kid.
But you know what Bassmaster is versus any of these things. Bassmaster is an established brand for years.
Huge.
They're one entity. This is not multiple. These are just divisions under a brand. That brand made it without us and could still make it without us. Oh, yeah. The fact that they are going to get money off of this is, I mean, that's just what happens. Like Paddle and Fin can do 100% payout. There's no overhead. Like these monkeys right there, that's the overhead. You know, and I mean, there's insurance, but there's not a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that trophy looks so cool. But
you mentioned it, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, that trophy's sick. You know, I had wrote down the $7,500, but it's going to be far less than that. You know, and we've already hit it. It takes overhead and everything. What you're talking about, you even said not to compare. Well, that's what we're doing is comparing. They're all different. Like, Hobie has overhead that's different. Bassmaster has overhead that's different. KBF, same thing. It's everybody. You can't compare one to the other. You can compare how they're run. Do I think there needs to be improvements on how these events are run? 100%. But it's going to get there. They've got to find guys willing to do that. Bassmaster didn't come into this. Yeah, Bassmaster didn't come into this and say, okay, here's all of our best people. They're like, no, you bring them in. You know, I've turned down. I was asked to be a director for one of them. I turned it down. I don't have time. Like,
so on the screen currently, just because we're talking about Hobie, and here's the thing: when this came up, I did some digging, and I think the main reason why everybody likes Hobie is because they're so transparent.
Yes.
I went straight to the Hobie BOS handbook. $260 entry fee, $195 is paid out for the event, $40 is held back to go towards the Tournament of Champions cash payout at the end of the year, and they have a $25 per angler administration fee. So that covers your Tourney X, your insurance, your PayPal fees, all that stuff. Now I tried to, did that pop up? No, it's still on the other one. So when I went, because we're comparing right now, I went to KBF's, and let me pull that up on the screen. KBF for their trail series, it just basically says trail series tournament's $115. Trail series championship is $150. Tournament payouts are represented by a chart on this page after admin fees and a $10 championship holdback per angler. 100% of the entry fees will be paid out at each event. So to me, that's super confusing. That's not transparent because what are the admission fees? And then is it 100% after that stuff held back? Like the way this is worded is just really janky. And I scrolled through all this and it didn't have a breakdown. So, we're comparing the three major kayak trails. So that's why I'm bringing that up. And I think if you listen to a lot of the talk across the kayak fishing community, it always comes back to the transparency of the way these big events are run. And
let me chime in a little bit because I want to clear something up. It's not, I don't like that they're charging that much. That's not the problem. I went to the Bass at Fork and I paid it. I didn't complain about it. My situation, more than anything, and I'm not asking any angler to boycott bass. Like I said, we'll still promote the anglers who participate in the bass. More than anything, get in contact with bass and let them know how you feel about it. If you don't like it, my situation is like, that's what you want to charge and that's what you feel you want to charge, at least run it right. Have an Angler of the Year race. Put out the schedule on time. Those are basic things that really make a big difference in the anglers. In the anglers that are not taken care of. And it doesn't cost them anything. Minimal effort to put an Angler of the Year race. That really helps them out. Minimum effort to have an organized event and have the schedule come in a timely fashion. That's my biggest issue. If you're going to charge what you're going to charge, great. But let's do it right. Let's do a favor to the anglers.
So Angler of the Year is a double-edged sword, proven fact. If you have an Angler of the Year race and we see consistent anglers in this industry, in any of these, from a local trail to a national event, you will see some of these same people kick ass in all of them. When you have an Angler of the Year race, the biggest issue you run into, and it's still fun to have, one guy that's better than the rest for the year, or gal. You can mathematically put 70% of the field at no chance in hell to win it. For some people, when they get into tournaments, I can name some. Angler of the Year is a big deal. When you are going for an Angler of the Year, let's say it's a bigger prize or something, a free boat, $100,000, whatever it is. When you've lost every chance at it, and you're mathematically out of the loop, you don't show up. Why am I going to pay my tournament entry fee if I can't go for what I started this for? You see that. Local clubs see it all the time. You'll go from 90 guys a tournament to 30 at the end of the year because they're like, well, hell, I may have a chance at the win, but that guy's been winning the whole time anyway. Yeah. So, which is stupid. Fish all of it.
Sure.
Start it.
Sure.
Finish it.
But
Angler of the Year doesn't help or hurt. Yeah. It's just a neutral. It's just another field. It's like a side pot for big bass.
It helps the anglers get
helping an angler is showing up. Helping an angler is showing up, promoting well, and putting your money where your mouth is and winning. Winning's not everything. There's tons of anglers that have sponsors that occasionally win. You got anglers that win all the time. But the Angler of the Year doesn't mean anything. Like some of the best anglers you hear about in bass boats probably have never won Angler of the Year for anything that wasn't a local event. You've got like Gerald Swindle. Gerald Swindle's never won a national event.
Yeah.
He makes a shitload of money. He's probably one of the best known anglers with the best attitude. He don't win. I don't know if he's there. I think he won Angler of the Year once. Where's Dan at?
Perry?
Man,
When you
chime
meet
in.
him,
Dan, you'll know this off the top of your head.
Perry chime in.
But
Dan's probably yelling right now that I'm wrong.
It does mean a lot to some of the anglers and the ones that are really carrying the sport. And that's what I'm saying. The ones that are really carrying the sport, the Russ Snyders, the Catherine Fields, the Jody Quinns, it matters to them.
It does, but they don't need the Angler of the Year. They don't need AOI to prove to anybody that they are the cream of the crop, the consistent people to beat. You want to be that person, and you also want to beat that person. I don't care most people won't care if it says Angler of the Year next to him. It doesn't matter. He beat me 9 times this year.
Gerald Swindle wins 2016 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year.
Yeah, once, right?
It looks like it. 2018.
Yeah.
And he's been a known angler way before that.
He's fished 257 events, placed in the money 172 times, 1 first place finish, 7 second place finishes. He's been to the Classic 17 times, 7 third place finishes, 51 top 10, 88 top 20, 126 top 30.
Yeah, but
consistency with no big title.
Career winnings 1.973 million.
But you got to think,
Gerald,
right?
I need a loan, man.
Like Gerald Swindle is, I mean, his name alone carries weight. You know, that's his brand.
Just like Russ, just like Jody, Christine.
Yeah, and like it goes back to what I said, dude. Like, if you want that, don't fish Bass Nation. Fish a series that has that.
No, and I get that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not asking anybody to boycott it. I don't want Bass to go away.
No, it wouldn't happen anyway.
That's not good for the sport. That's not good for the growth of the community. I'm making a case that they could run it better by doing the small things. You see, when you don't do the small things that make a big difference to some of the anglers, every other mistake that now gets magnified because it shows that you're not really committed. And I disagree with Jimmy in the sense that it doesn't matter to Angler of the Year race. If you don't have Angler of the Year race, this is what's going to happen. Russ Snyder, Jody Quinn are always going to get, and just saying a couple of names, are always going to be in the limelight because they're mostly winning, while other guys, it creates this vibe where at the end of the year, we are all interested and vested to see. Last year, everybody that's a fan for this sport was vested to see who was going to win, either Jody Quinn or Russ Snyder in the Hobie BOS. Let's not pretend that it didn't create this buzz around the TOC because everybody was watching the TOC more than, and not the only reason, but one of the reasons people were watching, they wanted to see who got Angler of the Year race. In comes Drew Gregory, who didn't win the tournament but won Angler of the Year race because he got a better result than Russ Snyder. And now Drew Gregory's name is thrown out there. This is an opportunity for Drew Gregory to be in the spotlight where he can now get more sponsors, not only for him, but for his podcast, because you can say, hey, there's some credential to this guy. This guy's Angler of the Year race, his face is plastered all over Hobie BOS. If we can get him, his face plastered with our brand on his shirt or a cap and everything, that generates interest and that could generate revenue. If there's no Angler of the Year race, we would only be focused on who won that tournament. None of us would be focused on let's see who wins Angler of the Year race. And Drew Gregory would have been an afterthought because he didn't win. He didn't show. Russ Snyder and Jody Quinn won a bunch of those tournaments. That's my point.
But they also offset that with other things. You're going to have your opens, you're going to
qualifying for the TOC.
Yeah. I mean, that's where they make up for that. So
and qualifying for the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah. And again, that's formula,
but again,
right?
it doesn't add anything to the cost to bring that and help out the anglers.
No, but I think that's incorrect. I think that's incorrect because there is actually going to be work behind the scenes for that. And that's more of an administration cost. That's more math. That's more keeping up with stuff. And then you got people that are think of how many anglers are going to come in and out of these series. Dude, you're talking about Bass Nation. Dude, this can be like thousands of anglers, at least. They're going to come in and out of all these things.
Same as Hobie. Hobie pulls out more anglers than the BOS, than the Bass.
I'm over here laughing because this is the most Jay's ever talked on a podcast in like
I know.
2 years, dude.
Should I come here more often?
You got him fired up. Woo!
Well, there's stuff in my head, man.
It's not much, and it rattles around a lot. But we're glad to hear it when it comes out.
That's all right,
So,
dude.
okay,
Are you
here
in a
you go.
short seat or a tall seat? Just asking. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
And just to
Okay,
make my
so-
point, how many at the end of the season are going to be in the PNF host chat saying, "Oh man, I'm so close to winning Angler of the Year"? Ask Susie Roloff if Angler of the Year doesn't matter to her. We
But it doesn't
know
matter
how
to
much it
everybody.
matters to her. Yeah,
But it doesn't matter to
But it
everybody.
matters to most of them, and it helps them out.
I'm telling you,
If
dude.
you win Angler of the Year and your face gets plastered all over Facebook, companies are going to say, "Man, that could be our logo in there if we can get him on our team."
So
Don't tell me that doesn't matter, because it's now you put your name is your brand is out there, and it's displayed to more
Your
people.
brand is out there. Okay, for Drew Gregory, he was the underdog, correct? Everybody was looking at Jody and Russ.
Yep.
First off,
Exactly.
Drew does not need any damn help being known. Period.
No.
Drew is not.
In the community, no,
name.
but if the sports grows before that and it goes mainstream, then yeah. How many people?
He's already
view
mainstream.
us
The dude's on
outside?
TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how many people outside of fishing know, like, oh, who's Drew Gregory?
A
You know,
shitload.
right
He
now
has a
he's
TV
famous.
show.
It's famous on the community, but the point of this is growing back, like just the same as Bass Nation. Bass Nation, Greg Swindle, KVD, Ike Iconelli, they're bigger than Bass. They transcend Bass. And I know Bass kayak fishing is long ways to go before that, but we can start doing the building blocks to reach that, where anglers can transcend the sport.
Sure, but it's their brand, dude. I know about Jody Queen, right? I mean, again, I'm not a big tournament guy. I could care less about that stuff. But I'll tell you what, I respect these guys and I know about them because I know they're killing it. You know what I mean? And everybody has their heyday. And again, if you want that, you have to go find that. Like, a lot of these clubs aren't going to do that kind of stuff because their formula is what it is. And that's not saying next year they won't do it. But
I hope they do.
I'll tell you right
sure.
here. Sorry, Jay. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But I'm about to have to go eat. So I was going to get on like two small things. Okay. First thing, you're saying that they're not run efficiently. They're not, they could do better. I understand
They
that.
can do better.
If they're struggling with what they're doing, don't add another piece of the damn puzzle.
True.
Dial
fully
in what
agree
you're
with that.
doing. No, you can't go back on what you said. That's exactly what that is. That is more
Yeah,
work,
but
still no more people. And then you have an issue that they can't guarantee is going to turn any kind of profit. It's a business. It's about profit. No matter how you put it, it's about profit. It's about promoting. It's about the angler, but they're going to make some money on it, because if they weren't going to do it, they wouldn't do it. Somebody like Hobie, KBF, with the less overhead, in my mind, that's a little more about the anglers, because they've been doing it with kayaks from the beginning, when it wasn't turning $1, and now they're here. Bass was already there. That's what I'm saying. They saw an opportunity to make some money. That's what Bassmaster is. It's a brand. You could do it with anything that's a business. The other thing with, give me a second here. So, you saying that that's probably the biggest thing that the anglers were like looking for or wanting as Angler of the Year.
I didn't say it's the
I can tell
biggest
you
thing.
right now, from tournament angler
I didn't say it's the
standpoint,
biggest thing, though.
But it means a lot to you.
It means a lot, but I didn't say it's the biggest
but
thing.
I'll tell you right
The
now,
check
you
is
know
the
what the
biggest
anglers
thing.
would want from Bass more than that? 2-day tournaments.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Schedule released earlier. You asked
Exactly.
any of
I
those
made
anglers, that was the
point
two
too.
things. Now, the scheduling, because I am friends with the person that helped with that and it was in the loop on that, Bass doesn't just look at it as a schedule for kayak anglers. They looked at it as a schedule as a whole with everything they do. High school, college, opens, everything. They have to make sure they wanted none of the tournaments, if possible, to overlap on any other Bassmaster event of any kind. So what that does is limit your possible venues. Then you get a venue, and then they want too much money. Just like he said. With that being said, they spent so much time doing that. You were there. They've already got the next two schedules pinned down for the next 2 years. They know it was a problem, but there was reasons it was a problem. And again, because they kind of half-assed it, they didn't know what they were getting into. It's new to them. I'm having trouble running my own Bass Nation. I've never ran a damn trail series before. It's a lot of damn work for the same reason. You reach out to a tourism board and they're like, nah, we already spent $400,000 on this, and this. I ain't got $3 for you, man. I'm sorry. And that's what it is. They don't just say, I want to go to Lake Guntersville in October. Let's go. That's not how it works. They hope that they can get, some money and help in to cover that so that they don't have to charge so much. That way they're still, area in the black, and it's not a break even, because if you're breaking even, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sure they're eating something, right? Because to your point.
So we got real quick, we got Ryan Milford in the chat. I think he makes a great comment on the subject. He said Hobie and KBF are promoting to people already within the kayak community. Bass can promote to a larger crowd outside of the kayak.
And that's why it's important to keep bass. Yeah, I agree.
Milfy is so smart.
Yeah. Well, I know if you think about it,
every now and then.
He must be drinking that Jim Beam and honey tonight.
and if
Quick,
you think about it too, Bass
cut the
Nation's
soundtrack in. Go.
Like Bass Nation's kind of late to the game, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But
there's a blueprint.
Their infrastructure is so vast. I guarantee once they hone their formula, they will surpass everyone, because they will figure out how to squeeze the dollars out of it.
And they also have more money to do it with. It's like a 5-year plan. Let's see what 5 years looks like. If in 5 years we're putting minimal money in it, minimal effort, and it's doing okay, well, then we can throw some serious dollars in there. We can get some serious sponsors to start paying for all of this shit. We can put it on television, and it's going to pay for itself. And then we're going to get marketing dollars from ad revenue, from airtime. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
Yeah, because you bet your ass they got a business plan. Like, the way, think about how they run high dollar tournaments. Like, to have hundreds of thousands of dollars pumping out, that is not a joke. And that is that's like per tournament. That is big money, dude.
MLF, you win $100,000, I think it is, if you win an MLF trail series.
And that is huge. That is so
and there's like
much.
8 of them.
Yeah, and just think of all the red tape that's involved with that and how complicated it is to deal with that, dude. I can tell you from our small thing we got going, there's so much shit built into this, dude. Like, it's complicated. It's not simple. So there's a lot. There's a lot.
I do all of it.
There's a lot at stake.
Jay does.
No, Jay's the behind the camera guy, man. We appreciate it, Jay.
No, he does more than that. I will give him way more credit than that.
But I guarantee even that location that Bass Nation uses right now, from the size of that, I'm going to say that's $15,000 or $20,000. And if they didn't mark it up because they knew Bass Nation was going to do it, it may be more money just because of that facility for that small amount of time they're there, dude. The people who rent shit out, they get their money. Yeah. Believe me.
Well, it's one of those things too. Like Jimmy brought up, reaching out to tourism boards. Like, a lot of times these towns and stuff will pay these organizations to come hold their events because they know it's bringing money into their towns. Sometimes those venues are free. It all depends, right? Like, we're not writing checks for Bass or Hobie or whoever it may be. I think it's an interesting conversation. Like, when I brought up the photo of the trophy, there was a couple other pictures on that page, and I noticed like the angler check-in was at like a Chamber of Commerce building or something, which was like a big wide open pole barn or something like that. So yeah, they might be paying a couple $100 for that. Probably was donated to them for nothing, but even still, like you got to consider too, like the Classic in itself is a big spectacle in the fishing world, right? Like, that's like going to Wimbledon in tennis, the Daytona 500. It's that big spectacle. So they're going to get some TV time out of the kayak guys. After last year's first event, when the guys came across the stage, which I understand the guys are going to come across the stage tomorrow. Why they waited, I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. But
well, I'm pretty sure that if I'm wrong, I think the Classic started today.
Okay.
So
Classic start. Oh, maybe it did. Yeah.
No, it started. Yeah, it started
Friday.
today.
Okay.
Yeah. They did the same thing to us the year before.
Okay.
It's like a day for them and set up, then us before them, and then they continue on, because that's the big thing, man. That's where the money's at.
Sure. Well, I mean, either way,
it
that's
consolidates
the big spectacle. That's going to be the big thing that the kayak fishing community is going to be looking at, because last year it was kind of laughable on what happened. I know some of the powers that be that are running this kayak division,
they
brought that up to them. I would expect to see a lot different results. And I think if they treat it right, like, they're going to get a little piece of the kayak fishing community's heart, and you may see more people getting into it, And
at the same time, if they do it as crappy as they did last year,
it's going to get less of a following. So this is like going to be that make or break, I was kind of surprised because I think they limited the number of entrants to 200, correct, for the Classic this week?
No, I thought it was 240.
Yeah, it was based off.
A lot of people just didn't want to pay the $400.
Yeah, the limit was based off of all the qualifying numbers from last year.
Yeah. Okay.
But it wasn't like we qualified 240, only 160 can show up. Like, all qualifying people could be there. This just like with the national championship with KBF, some people just can't make it, can't afford it.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a whole nother conversation too, right? Like, when you get, God, I remember the national championship with the KBF, like, was it 700 something people? Like,
that was the biggest one. Yeah.
To me, I think that's silly. Yeah. I don't know. To me, that's silly. But
here's the thing: they get a lot of crap for that, and I'm sorry to cut you in. Here's what I think a lot of people don't understand about the KBF National Championship. It is not just the elite. It's not like the Hobie BOS. Those are the elite anglers.
It's everybody that's fished everything all
exactly.
year.
And a lot of people criticize it, and I think it's great because this is the thing. It gives the average Joe, the weekend warrior that is great at fishing but can't afford to be competing around the country like Russ Snyder and Jody Quinn, a kind of like a puncher's chance to win life-changing money and get to be known. And that's what I love about KBF. You have to – people criticize KBF for, letting everybody in. KBF, their national championship, does a great and is very important for the kayak community because it brings the average Joe into the mold and tell them, here's your chance to take down Russ Snyder, Jody Quinn, Cody Milton. Go for it. You've been fishing your local lakes all this time. You may be killing it there and nobody knows you. Here's your chance, and it helps the sport grow more than the Hobie BOS. And going back to that point of Ryan Milford was saying, Hobie BOS really just caters to the tournament anglers as well as they should, and that's why they run it so well. That's why most of the elite anglers love Hobie BOS. The equivalent of KBF to what the TOC is, to me, it's the 10. That's the equivalent. That's when they say, okay, we're going to get the 10 best anglers, which, by the way, I know Chad Hoover and KBF get a lot of crap. And I know I've heard that term a lot, that, I don't fish at Chad Hoover event. I'm not going to say the people they don't like it are wrong. I know KBF can be doing some things better. But let me tell you my experience with KBF, fishing the KBF trail at Trinity. Captain's Meetings was a restaurant. I can order anything from the menu, even the $30 steak plate. I can have 2 drinks, even if it was the $50 top shelf margarita. They only charging me $150 to take part in the tournament. And I can have a $50 meal, all paid. Say what you will about Chad Hoover. Say what you will about KBF. That's showing some respect to the anglers. That's showing that you love the community. The fact that the 10, you don't have to pay to get in. And you can make it's not 10 anglers, it's more like 13 or 14. You can make $10,000, which is half of what tomorrow is going to be cashed for the winner of the Bass Nation Kayak Series, by the way. And it's only 10 anglers. You stay at a house for free, with meals paid. Say what you will. Chad Hoover and what KBF is doing is great for the community, for the growth of the community, and also for the elite anglers. That is showing major respect to those elite anglers that are following that brand and are loyal to that brand. And I think that's a model that we should expect for everybody. I know it's not possible for all anglers, but we should strive. Every kayak tournament angler out there should strive for every tournament to be that way.
Okay, I agree with you. I'll walk back my comment because of that. I mean, I'll eat crow on that. That's fine. But I will. I mean, because in plus two, I can't. Honestly, I can't compete at that level too. So I mean, maybe there's a little bit of that behind that. I don't know. But to your point of having those dinners, that's the offset too, right? So for everything that you think that you might be overpaying, or they might be taking, you think, and then they give you that, where you can order whatever you want. Some of your money back in that act. I mean, they're able to do that. And Chad, more power to you, dude. I mean, he's been there from the beginning, right? I mean, he's the one.
He's a trailblazer. We wouldn't be catching
the
the check. Anglers wouldn't be catching the checks they're catching on other tournaments if it wasn't for the work that Chad Hoover has done to get us here.
Nobody
Not that the tournaments wouldn't exist without him, but we wouldn't have gotten to where we are at this time if it wasn't for him.
Nobody disputes
that's the truth.
What Chad did. KBF definitely set the bar. Like
they definitely had their place in the industry for sure.
Yeah, and like what you said with, like, I don't have a problem with the way the KBF does their national championship now, because there's other kayak fishing trails that have the elite where it's a long qualification process. Best at this event, best at that event, we hammer down at the end of the year. That I like how the KBF National Champ leaves it open for everybody. What you said about the 10 and the $10,000, and it's half of what Bass is doing. It's a shitload harder to get to the 10.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. But those guys probably.
No, I feel you on that, Armando. Like, you're right. Like, the national championship has its place the way it does, and it works a lot better now, and people can complain about it less because, it's like, if you don't want to be a part of an event that everybody and their mama got qualified for, fish the trail series that takes some real work. Same thing. And with that, a lot of those guys that take KBF that seriously, that's what they're pushing for, is the 10. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of them, they qualify for the national championship the first month or trail event of the year, or the first time there's a monthly. And that, but like, it's hard to say that, like, should they all be ran like KBF? Yes and no. KBF has a lot of known issues. They've had a lot of known drama.
Why would you run everything the same, though? Like,
exactly.
No, and I'm not saying
there's got to be differences in the market.
The only thing that everybody should try to do is do it, to promote the sport, but while making it make sense, like,
yeah,
sure.
And if everybody's the same, the issues are all the same. There is no progress, and there's no greater thing, and then there's no difference, and then why is it all separate companies? Why isn't one giant entity? That's not what you want. You
want variety,
because it doesn't fit for everybody's needs and everybody's wants.
Sure.
But like, I'm trying to get where I go with this. Like,
I think what you're trying to say is that, like, each one of these series offers something different because we all lead different lives.
Yeah.
So
they need to stay that way.
Yeah. And
they all need to be ran to their best possible ability, as risk-free, issue-free. I mean, that's obvious. That's anything, whether it's a profitable business or, dealing eggs down the street from your farmer buddies, man. Like, it's got to be done.
You got an egg dealer, bro?
Huh?
You got an egg dealer, bro?
Actually, I do, yeah. Really old man.
But if you're gonna chase that AOY though, like you've been talking about, you got to find that series, dude. Like, I'm sure there's other series that maybe not are considering it, again, because of the complexity of what they're doing, or not. Maybe they'll consider it next year or something, or down the road. But if you want that, you got to go find it. That's all. That's all you can
definitely.
do. And they're all gonna.
The more out there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead, dude. I'm good.
I mean,
Jay's talkative tonight.
Yeah.
I know this is exciting. I can't crack on it for not saying anything.
I'm gonna
I've
start
been sitting back, just like chilling. Dude.
I'm gonna start my own podcast, do all by myself. I'm ready.
I bring out the
Jay's rants.
Jay, that's why it is.
Jay's rants.
It's gonna be what grinds my gears, just like on Family. Last thing I'll say, because I'm gonna go and I'll let y'all finish. The last thing is, I think it's a big push or need for some of the stuff we've talked about? Yes and no. But like Jay, you said, Bass is watching. If they can see that it's going to be great, and then they really take off with it, I guarantee you'll see Angler of the Year. You might see 4-day damn tournaments. Like, you Bass has the platform that it might be on TV, and you might see guys regularly competing for $30,000 at each event. Like, and I'm not saying none of the other ones don't. It's just that Bassmaster was established and already has that leg and income coming in. They just have to know if it's worth them spending it or making it to that point. You have to show your worth.
Sure.
Which all rolls down to the tournament has to be ran well so that anglers show up. Anglers show up, participation levels are up, sponsors show up, money comes in, boom, 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 let's go big.
And think about it, dude. They've been sitting back watching everything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now they cherry pick probably everything from everything they saw, and then also from their boat series, and they're gonna see what works, and they're gonna be like, all right, well, we're getting bad feedback on this. Let's change this. And let's be honest, you cannot give everybody what they want. There's always gonna be somebody bitching. There's always gonna be somebody on the other side. There's always gonna be people that want it. So it's yeah, me too, right? I mean, it's like, even though I'm not participating, I see it. It's like, and I do, believe me, we all see the forums. It's unreal. But you're gonna have that. Yeah. But you're gonna have that. So it's like, and again, it's your choice. Vote with your dollars, what you want to do, what you want to chase, what you can afford. It's all on you. There's a large offset that people don't know that takes place behind the scenes that makes or breaks you. And it just depends how you roll with those punches, and what the eventual outcome is. And there's always room for improvement. And every series tries to make improvement over, every year. It's something we'll definitely be doing.
He was almost going to the part where that's like right where you end the show. He was like winding down.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting for you to like look at the camera and be like, and that's what grinds my gears. But guys, I got to get.
All right, brother.
To hop on and talk
Jimmy,
about
thanks
it since
for
it was
joining us,
blowing
man.
up in our chat. And
good discussion.
I love you, Armando. I ain't hating on you or nothing. I just I like being able to talk to people about this, and you actually get feedback and opinion on.
Yeah.
Too many people like our boy Brad Hicks. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. He
dropped it. I got nothing.
Yeah, Jimmy, may I suggest a new upgrade in your your prowess? Can we call you Disco Jimmy now?
Disco Jimmy.
I think you've earned it. Your brand.
I've like moved up from Gimli. I feel so good right now.
Disco Jimmy. Hey,
dude, you best believe I'll show up in like a white John Travolta disco suit to the next Trail Series event.
That sounds wonderful and scary at the same time.
You're right. I have all the chest hair hanging out.
Yeah. Have that bad boy hiked up.
Oh, can we talk apart from the beer, though?
Oh, this is too much.
All right.
Much. Thanks, brother.
I love you guys.
Love you,
man. I'll talk to you, man.
Later, man. Good conversation, man. Yeah, definitely, man. It's interesting. Like he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, can I jump in on this?" And I figured it'd be good, man. I think this is the kind of stuff and the kind of conversations that need to happen to make changes in these trail series and things like that. I think you need the positive feedback, but you also need the negative feedback. If not, you're never going to change, right? So, it's cool, man. I know. I kind of stayed back. I don't honestly really have an opinion on much of this stuff. I get where you're coming from as far as like that money taken out of the prize pool away from the anglers and things like that. at the same time, like I understand that it's a business and it takes money to run trail series and things like that. So, I mean, I see both sides of the fence. I think there's ways that both parties could be happy, and some things could stay more money stay in the prize pool, bigger payouts. That's what draws people in. I mean, when you mentioned the 700 anglers at the national championship, that payout was $100,000 that year.
Yeah.
That's why you had 700 anglers show up to fish it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas, I don't know how Bass scaled their payouts. I know they pay out.
They pay out
deep into the field, which is cool, dude, because
yeah.
that helps the rest of the field recoup the cost. But at the same time, like first place was $20,000, second place was $5,000.
And
that's a big jump.
And that's your offset too, right? Yeah. As you filter it down, all that adds up.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, so it's hard to do a big payout unless you just make a commitment and go, okay, we're paying out the top 10 spots and that's it.
Oh, the top 10 all got over $1,000.
But I mean, but if you limit it to that, think of what that purse would be.
Yeah, right.
You know, for first place.
Right. Well, the top 10% usually.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
so it's interesting.
The KBF Trail, the National Championship pays a deep pool too. Like Matthew Conner got $60,000 or more, I think, from what I understand. I don't know the exact number, but I think that we were talking to him on the after the podcast, and he mentioned something that was going to be around $60,000.
Yeah.
Plus, they paid deep into that pool.
Yep. Yeah. So it's interesting, man. I think it's great conversation. And again, like some people may view this conversation as controversial or whatever, but I think we all kind of kept it pretty clean and, voice some opinions and things like that. And I think it's just healthy conversation. I hope some of this conversation gets to, people in the KBF organization, Hobie, Bass, and so on and so forth. And, not only that, but like some of this stuff, can play roles in small clubs and stuff like that. It's like, don't get me wrong. Like until this year, I never ran a trail series. It's a ton of work, dude. A lot of headaches, a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages, a lot of emails. Yep. I don't get paid a dime for that.
It's continuous too, right?
Yeah, right. And as the year goes on. However, what makes it rewarding for, I think I can speak for both of us and Susie and everybody else, is at that award ceremony, everybody's got a smile on their face, whether they caught fish or not, the camaraderie among the anglers.
Yeah.
And going to your point before, or we talked about like what all those guys down at Bass right now are looking forward to is walking across that stage. In our little trail series, what everybody looks forward to is taking home a big check.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is cool. It's like their trophy. That's their bragging rights. Like, check out my big check, bro. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like each little trail or kayak tournament, they all got their little niches, dude. And, certain things mean different things to others, going back to when our first event down in Dale Hollow, Chris Anderson, shout out to him. He said, the only thing I wanted from this weekend was one of those big checks.
Yeah.
Another guy was like, all I wanted to do was win one of those boats, So, I mean, different things, I think you got to keep that variety, change it up. And that's what keeps it interesting. And I think KBF offers some of that, like for the average Joes, like they got the night tournaments, they got the holiday tournaments, the monthlies, the trail series, all that stuff, which is cool. Like I'll give that to KBF. Like they offer a variety of different tournaments. Hobie, definitely for the more serious angler. Maybe you'll fish it if there's one coming in your town, or you're just like, all right, this is it. This is the elite series, kind of, which a lot of folks have related to. And I'm going to pound it hard and I'm going to travel the country and I'm going to make it to that EOC. And Bass, it's kind of similar to KBF because you could fish your local bass club event to qualify for the big event that's going on now, or you could fish some of their trail series events and qualify for the classic. So, I mean, it's all going to be a personal preference, man. Like it's a game of give and take, and what's going to appease to whomever. I hope all three of those series keep evolving and keep doing new and different things, and just putting one foot in front of the other and just making it better and better for the anglers, for their sponsors, for their brands, like, whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is ultimately about the anglers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what we were trying to do. And like, again, we are fully aware we run a Midwest Trail Series.
Yeah.
We are fully aware on this, in this conversation that there were some critical things, but but don't be fooled.
Yeah.
Everyone is having these conversations.
Yeah.
Everyone at these other tournament series. And you know what? We got nothing but love for these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, or like, well, women too, of course. But I mean, anybody that's running these tournaments, we know we're learning what it takes to run this stuff. And why do you think we did? We've learned from them. So,
right.
Somebody might misconstrue these conversations as something else and put a bug in someone's ear. But come back to this podcast and you'll know nothing was talked about but truth.
Yeah.
Right. And I play devil's advocate on purpose because they're not here to talk about themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
sure.
And they needed a defender just to have someone talk about the other things. And that I see that we see now, like, trying to set up these events, and it's not easy. And there's a lot that goes into it. And depending on which level you're at, there's a lot of risk. And that's the other stuff people don't realize, so it's real easy to armchair anything for that matter without knowing fully what goes into it, and me still not knowing what goes into it, but I still respect every company that's putting something out there and what they're doing, and everybody that's participating in everybody's hard work. We absolutely respect everything you guys are doing, and we learn from it ourselves, and we try to improve. And that's really, again, it's about the anglers. Like, we want to make everybody happy. And to your point, everybody walks away with a smile.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a good gathering of people, and that's really what people want.
Yeah.
At the root of everything. Yeah, people want some cash, sure.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot more going into all that. Like the community grows.
Yeah.
And it's still, and if anybody's out there and you're thinking about starting a series, do it.
Yeah.
Start the series.
Heck yeah.
Even if it's small on the local level, who cares?
Yeah.
That's how it's going to grow. You know what I mean? Even just start an online series.
Yeah.
So what?
Start a little club nightly or weekly or monthly tournament on your local honey hole.
Yeah. I mean, like, we've heard about people, there's crews that just put in $1.
Yeah.
$1 each and fish for like $20, between friends. And then that grows.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you've got something going on. Then all of a sudden you got an infrastructure. And
one guy's talking to one friend, tells him, "Oh man, I had a great time fishing the once a month tournament down at the local honey hole, and we fished for $5 a piece. Old Jimmy took the lunch money, and oh well, that sounds great. How do I join that, or how do I get in on that?
Yeah,
that's how it grows, man. It's there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, we kind of, in all this, we kind of forgot to mention KBBT and KFL, they're doing their thing. KFL just announced that they're going to be having like, I guess, kind of like a web series on Pride TV, something like that. Kind of, I guess, similar to what we're doing in Waypoints, but they're going to broadcast their tournaments. And so shout out to them. That's big, man. Just even if it's not ESPN or anything like that, but there's baby steps to move the sport into, the next level and getting it closer to the end game. And again, nothing that what is said here, it's coming out of malice or hate. We're not hating on anything. We're not hating on bass for sure. We don't want bass to go away. I don't want bass to go away. I fished it. I enjoyed it. But there are some things, like I mentioned, it's good to talk about those things, because we can't always go like, well, if we're not looking to improve the sport, then what are we doing? We're going to get stuck in a rut. And there are things that could be done better. And that's why I advocate to. And keep in mind, I have my podcast just like you guys have, and we're part of a network. What we're talking about is not just my opinion. It's opinions of tournament anglers that we talk to. that I've talked to that feel that way. And it's their voice that I wanted to project. Now, I don't speak for all of them, but I know some of the issues that they would like to say get fixed. And not just bass, or that goes, KBF and also Hobie BOS, although they do an amazing job as well. So that's what we want. And for those out there that kind of the fence or don't see the value in entering a tournament, keep in mind, when I go into a tournament, I don't really look for the money. That's not important to me. To me, it's a camaraderie. To me, it's like I want to go and fish with these guys and learn from them, talk to them at the boat ramp after, and see what they're doing that makes them work and enjoy it. Just get that competitive vibe going. There shouldn't be any malice in the water. It shouldn't be all that bad blood, like this is my spot and all that. When I go, hey, if there's somebody there, I'll ask him politely before I make a cast. Can I go past you? If you don't mind, I'll just go someplace else. I know that's me because I'm definitely not at that level of those guys that are actually making a living out of this. But if you're out there and you're thinking about taking a local trail or even a national trail that comes by your town, go for it. Because for the most part, 99% of the time, you are going to meet great people on the water and at the boat ramp that are willing to share their experience and help you improve your game, even if you just want it just to be better for yourself and not necessarily to win money.
For sure.
Yep.
Awesome, brother. I love it.
Well, thank you, man.
Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for coming on and getting Jimmy worked up and you worked up. Jay fired up. Yeah, dude, I got to bring you on more often. Jay was just, woo! Chatting it up tonight, folks.
Yin to his yang, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Are you my muse now?
Yeah. So
love you guys.
But we appreciate you,
too,
man. Thank you. You can catch Armando's podcast every Tuesday. Jimmy's on the Reel Down every Wednesday. And obviously, we're here every Thursday live. Then it automatically gets uploaded to the podcast platforms. If you're listening on the podcast and you made it this far, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you guys next week. And we'll actually be talking to Dwayne Wally from Tourney X and Bass Nation. So maybe we can ask him some of these questions and we'll see how the results thing turns out and all that good stuff. So if you guys have any questions for Dwayne, who owns and runs Tourney X, feel free to send them in to us. As always, boys and girls, tight lines, smooth paddling.